A list of the topics, themes, and subject matter featured in this episode has been included in the episode description.
Hi, I'm Kenny, the DM for Fables of Frost and Fur, and I'm joined by my lovely cast,
Kaylee.
Carmen.
Matt.
And we just had a doozy of an episode, but we appreciate it. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe and follow us wherever you can. We also have a Patreon for those of you who would like to support what we do. Your donations go a long way to letting us do a bunch of really cool stuff, like tell devastating stories that leave my cast in complete silence. Matt, what can we expect from this episode?
We join our little troop as they arrive at the colorful port city of Vanois, where secrets are revealed, fairy tales are told. The past comes to visit everyone.
Indeed it does.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun and not stressful at all. It's going to be great.
Indeed it will be. Now, without further ado, enjoy the show. Previously on Fables of Frost and Fur. Having suddenly returned to human form, Poppy tried to convince her traveling companions that they could all return to the village of Ardeno and that she could return to her normal life. However, both Harlan and Vianne dismissed that dream, convincing her that returning would only put her loved ones in more danger. Just past the town of Poitiers, the party was ambushed and threatened by a rogue cell of Patrouille terrorists until Vianne dropped her illusion and revealed her true form, a foxkin. She invoked the name of Legant, a mysterious name which struck terrible fear and awe in the Patrouille, causing them to bow down to her and grovel for mercy. Harlan used the opportunity to have them sow misinformation about Poppy's trail, buying the party much-needed time to build distance between themselves and the Queen's men. We continue our story several days later in the port city of Vanois. The mist hangs low over the harbor like a dirty shroud, smothering the horizon in a murky gloom. Faint, magic-powered lanterns flicker on rustling iron posts, casting weak light across cobbled streets. The stench of salt, rot, and human filth cling to the air, thick as smoke. Ships, their hulls battered and scarred, sway lazily at their moorings, ropes creaking against the groans of a dying beast. Along the wharf, crates lay strewn in hairless heaps, guarded by hard-eyed men in ragged coats, their faces shadowed beneath tattered top hats. A gang of street urchins dart between the shadows, their hollow eyes gleaming with hunger. One of the children tries to snatch a cured ham from a butcher's stall, her hubris clouding her better judgment. Her fingers slip. She drops the ham. A furious butcher grabs her arm before she can run. Her friends have abandoned her. She looks up in desperation as the butcher's cleaver comes down, removing her hand in a mess of blood and tears. Two Frostguard calmly walk up to the scene, only to swiftly walk away when the butcher hands them several gold coins. Beyond the harbor, the city sprawls like a festering wound. Narrow alleys twist and turn in a maze of crumbling tenements where laundry flaps weakly in the wind. Mud-caked horse carriages rattle through the streets, splashing the legs of drunks slumped against the walls, bottles cradled in their limp hands. Two red lanterns glow dully from the corner of the Rue des Fleurs, signifying that Le Papillon, one of the city's best bordellos, is open for business. Vianne, having cast her illusion to resume a human appearance, steps up to the mahogany doors.
We'll be safe here, as long as we need to be. She knocks at the door.
you hear some shuffling behind the door, as well as a few giggles and some soft whispers as gentle footsteps clack their way towards the door. The two mahogany doors swing open, and you are greeted with a beautiful interior room. A lobby filled with reds and velvet and gold all around. Beautiful furniture and a fire that is raging and comfortable and welcoming. As you step inside, you notice from the top of the second floor stairs, a figure sweeps out in a beautiful, elegant ivory dress laced with patterns of all sorts of flowers. Her hair, a lovely, rich brunette done up into an elegant and tasteful bun. Her brilliant blue eyes widening as she looks at the party, and her eyes lock with Vianne. Vivi, what are you doing back here so early? She picks up her skirts and she bounds down the stairs much quicker than you think a woman should be able to in the amount of dress that she's wearing. And she sprints over and throws her arms over at Vianne and embraces her in a hug.
Mary, mwah, mwah. It's good to see you. I have introductions to make.
Yes, but of course. I did not think you'd be back. I saw you not a fortnight ago. Why? Forgive me. Bonsoir. I am Madame Marie, proprietor and Madame of Le Papillon, at your acquaintance.
You've missed out the best part. This is the best woman in all of Frakti, my friends.
Stop it, you! And she bats you on the shoulders a little.
Harlan is squeezing Poppy's shoulder and just pulling her back a little bit. It's all right. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, mademoiselle.
Yeah.
Mademoiselle, you flatter me, monsieur, you flatter me. And you are?
You can use your real name here, darling.
Sorry, I'm Harlan, and this is...
Be yourself. It's safe.
Poppy.
Marie, we need one of the private rooms, please.
Yes, of course. My dear, every room here is private. But first, may I take your hat and coat, monsieur? Before you can say anything, from your sides, quiet as mice, two lionkin women, very, very beautiful, one with jet black hair and the other with bright blonde hair, just sweep by, take your hat, and they begin to undress your coat while giggling in your ears.
That's all right. I think I'll hold on. Perhaps more forcefully than one might expect.
The girls squeal and they run behind Poppy playfully, just start picking away at the brooch that holds her cloak together.
Thank you. That's really kind of... Oh, all right. Wow. The hospitality here, I mean, it rivals Ordino. This is great.
Let them fuss over you. It's the last time that you'll have any comfort for a while. Marie, whose are these? Yours?
The two lionkin girls blank Marie, and she smiles very demurely, gestures at them saying, yes, these are my two debutantes. I would like you to meet my premier laureate and aspiring courtesans, Bessette, and she points to the lionkin with the black hair, and Colette, and she points to the one with the blonde hair. The two girls pick up their skirts and bow in perfect form, something you might see at a court or a ball, as they return to their standing postures and stand prim and proper with perfect practice smiles.
Well done, ladies. Marie, twins are going to be quite the crown in your accomplishments.
Yes, I'm aware. If you had stayed just a few days more when I met them, I would have asked you if we should dye the hairs different colors or not. But I think it was a good choice.
Every choice you make is a good one, Marie.
Oh, stop it, you. Anyways, you requested a room. I shall let you all rest. Shall that be 3 separate rooms for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Of course. Bessette, Colette, will you kindly take them up the stairs, please? And do you use the rooms for our esteemed guests, not the rooms for the authors? Do you understand? They nod quietly and they take Harlan's hand and Poppy's hand.
Oh.
And they start to lead you up the stairs. Harlan, Bessette is the one who is guiding you, and she turns back over her shoulder, and she starts to try to interlace her fingers between yours.
I pat her on the head. That's all right, kiddo.
She pouts, and then just turns around and just starts leading you faster, a little more gruff, a little more forcefully now. Marie turns to Vianne and says, Is everything all right, my dear?
No. Marie, I'm sorry that I came here. I shouldn't have. It's going to endanger you, your girls.
Nope, say no more. Shh, don't say anything. And she grabs your hand, and she leads you up the stairs right behind Harlan and Poppy. The 3 of you make your way up, not 1, not 2, but 3 flights of stairs. And once you get to the top, you can see that this is much less opulent. You can see that the floors are wooden, the walls are wooden, clean, very clean, and decorated with a few paintings, but these paintings are less nice and they seem more sentimental. Their frames are not ornate at all. They're just like normal wooden frames. Some rugs have been laid out, but for the most part, this seems very modest, like a very modest living space. And you see that there are a bunch of unmarked rooms. Some of them are open, and in a few of them, you can see dresses hanging from various hooks on the ceiling. You can see beds that are have not been made at all, messily with clumps of blankets. You kind of get the feeling that these are sort of the living quarters of the women and a few of the men that you've actually walked past here at this bordello. As you make your way through, the girls lead you towards the back of a very long hallway up on this floor. There are 3 adjacent rooms, and they each lead you towards one of these doors. They open the door, and they gesture you in. They turn around and whisper a few things to Marie before Bessette and Colette bid Harlan and Poppy adieu, and then they gently close the door. We turn now to Marie, who walks into the room that Vianne is in and quietly closes the door behind her. Now, my dear, what is it? And you can drop the illusion. Please, you're safe here. You know that.
I've been wearing it for weeks. Thank you. And it's like taking her hair down for the first time. The ears spring out and start resting at last.
What is it, my dear? Why are you so frazzled? I've never seen you like this before.
I need a safe space to talk with them. I cannot tell you everything. I dare not tell you. Wolfhold is under siege right now.
Yes, I'm aware.
Do you know why?
I've heard rumors. Something about a woman. Yes?
Vianne reaches towards her oldest friend, holds her hand in hers.
Oh, Vianne. It's the girl?
It could change everything.
How? She's just a girl.
No, she's not. Not 2 days ago. She was as hairkin as one of your beautiful courtesans.
She takes a step back. I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. She was a what?
She was hairkin.
As in she turned into one, as an adult.
Yes, her mother, her father, both human.
No, this is unheard of. This is unheard of.
I know.
She steps back. She's clearly stunned at this bit of news. You can tell that from her facial expressions, The only reason she doesn't think that you are a raving madwoman is because the two of you have been friends for decades. She is quiet for a second until she looks back up at you and says, "We must tell Josephine. We must tell Josephine. She will know. She knows more about Alizé history than I do. Come, we must take the girl to her." We turn back to Poppy's room. What is Poppy doing?
Poppy is removing her mud-stained cloak and kind of giving it a disparaging look. Growing very tired of traveling in only the filthiest of clothes lately. But once it is off her body, she's shucking off her boots without a care, throwing them in different opposite corners of the room, and just flopping with her back on the bed, arms stretched out. Finally getting to enjoy some luxury after 3-4 nonstop days of go, go, go.
As she lays back and she closes her eyes, she feels her body melt into an absolute mountain of softness and warmth. And as she begins to really lose her energy, she swears she can hear the sound of crashing waves. We cut back to Harlan. Harlan has been directed into the room closest to the wall. You actually see that this room is surprisingly thick-walled. It's up against what seems to be just like a very hard plaster.
Is there a window?
This room has one window, very large set of curtains that have been pulled back.
The door has a lock.
The door has a lock.
Harlan gets up and locks the door, takes off the hat, regards it somewhat sadly, brushes a little dust out of it, hangs it up in the coat rack, walks over to the window, closes the curtains, and starts searching the room for listening devices, peoples, anything like that.
Give me an investigation roll.
That is a 5.
You look around. It's seemingly just sort of a guest room. It's a little messy, it's a little dusty. It doesn't seem like people have taken real good care of it. You search by the wall behind the bed. You pull the dresser that's quite large apart, and you don't see anything behind that wall either. It seems like this room is just a normal room.
He takes a moment. The way he stands, the way he moves, there's always kind of looseness and ease to it that fades as he stands up. Ramrod straight, takes off his bag, and with some uncertainty, he opens it, and it's a normal bag. Items in there, items for trade, a couple of supplies, and closes it again. He looks at his hand, looks at the bag, and there's uncertainty on his face. And he reaches toward the bag again, willing it to open.
As he does so, the seemingly normal bag begins to glow with a dim light as it truly opens.
He was very uncertain that was going to actually work. Reaches in, wills for what he's looking for to appear in his hand.
His hands search around. Mental image in his head. He finds it. He pulls out a hand-sized mirror with a brass frame. And the glass of this mirror is cracked. Pulls it up to his face.
A soft glow appears in the mirror. Pastor.
Where have you been, Lagarde? Do you have the faintest idea how absolutely mad it is here? Why have you not called?
I've been indisposed. I ran into some Pat Rouge.
Where?
In between Poitiers and Vanois.
Shit. It's that rogue cell, isn't it? Did you dispose of them?
I don't think they're going to bother anyone anymore.
All right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, I think I...
No, listen to me, Lagarde, listen. We have another Lunel case. Do you understand? We have another Lunel case.
Now you know I wasn't directly involved with that.
But I know you know exactly how bad it was. We have to find the beaskin.
I think I actually might have some relevant intel on that.
And what is that?
You know, nothing's ever been told to us officially about this. The rest of us have just had to guess. The Nunel case, it was a hurricane, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Poor girl.
When I encountered the Baton Rouge, under interrogation, they revealed that they saw a hurricane.
Shit.
Well, what was left of it?
All right.
It may have taken care of itself.
If it is unconfirmed, I have intel from the other handlers that she is making her way up to Fort Aubrac. I have already sent Fontaine and Ducasse there. The rest are on their way. But I know that LaRousse is there in Vanois. Where are you? You should rendezvous with her and cut them off to the south.
Understood. I will do so when I can do it without compromising myself.
See to it that it's done. Lagarde, this is not something that we want the Queen to see as a failure for our page. You know Fontaine is new. You know he's inexperienced with this.
Fontaine is going up to Fort Aubrac?
Yes, he's with Ducasse as we speak.
All right. I will talk to LaRousse.
Go find her. She's somewhere in the city.
Again, this may have resolved itself. I think we should put some more resources into confirming those reports in the woods between Poitiers and Vanois.
Yes, we have the Frost Guard on it. Now, if there's anything else, say it's now. Otherwise, you should find LaRousse and coordinate a plan to cut off the southern route. We cannot have it escaping away from Haute de Glace.
Is it possible it might be better to send LaRousse south now, while I cover Vanois?
One of you needs to go south to cut it off. I will defer to your judgment, Lagarde.
Right. I'll discuss it with her.
We take a pause from this. Marie opens the door quietly, and she gestures for Vianne. We must go. Should we grab the go?
Yes.
Of course. And she goes towards Poppy's room, and she knocks on it gently.
In that space between sleep and reality, with the crashing of waves, Poppy is so close to sinking into that lullaby of water. But the second the knock sounds, it's like all the noise stops, the waves disappear. Wherever she was going is abruptly changed, and she sits up with almost a gasp and just runs over to the door, not even allowing herself to think about where she was headed. Hello? Yep, sorry. And opens the door. Sorry, oh, Ian, Mademoiselle, Marie, right? That's what it was?
Please, my dear, Madame, I know I'm not that young anymore. You don't have to flatter me.
Speak for yourself.
My dear, we girls wanted to show you something downstairs. Would you care to come with us?
Oh, just the girls? Should we grab...
Just the girls. Just the girls.
I think your uncle would be a little bit shy.
If you catch our meaning.
Oh. Poppy does not catch the meaning, but she goes and grabs the boots that are flung in opposite directions and just quickly shucks them on, very well practiced in this exact motion, and begins to follow them.
The three of you quietly make your way down the stairs.
Would I notice this?
Give me a perception check.
That is a 17.
With a 17, you absolutely hear this. But you do not hear any urgency. It does genuinely just kind of sound like it's one or two people just passing through.
Right. Puts his hat back on, opens the door. Pip-pop.
Hi, Uncle Harlan. Yep. Hi.
Hello, ladies. I don't want you wandering off without me, all right? Benoit is... There's a lot to say here. I know it's your first big city and all, but this place is, can be a little...
Madame Marie steps gently in between and says, Monsieur, you misunderstand. She has some, womanly, biological things that we should check up on. Do you understand?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, of course.
I'm sure you are unaware, monsieur, to no fault of your own, but there is a fair chance that it may be approaching her time of the month, and she has been on the road. Do you understand?
There's general embarrassment. It's like, oh, right, no, of course, yeah.
We will return shortly. Rest assured, monsieur, please relax in your room.
Right. No, yeah. Forgive me, madam. I know we just met, and I know Mademoiselle Vienne trusts you and all, but sorry, she's the most important thing in the world to me. All right, so just forgive me if I'm being...
Monsieur?
Yeah.
I protect all my girls with my life. I always have, and I always will. Your Poppy is no different. From this day, she is one of ours. She is one of us. We would die for her. And she smiles at you with a genuine, warm smile.
You don't mind if I just, stand outside the door? I'm sorry. I know I'm being paranoid, but...
Can I do something really interesting, Kenny? I would like to just roll a d20 as a general decision device right here.
You absolutely should.
Okay. Well, we've been traveling a lot. Is it really so bad if Harlan comes along? I mean, I know you said it was about our womanly wiles, and she said that with just as brazenly as... Is it so bad? I mean, and she's kind of just looking up at Vienne with these giant puppy eyes.
Oh.
A rehearsed look that she used on her mother very often.
Marie, we're not going to be rid of him. He might as well join us.
Very well then. Come, we shall make our way downstairs.
If it gets too awkward, I will avert my eyes or, do whatever if you're doing your...
Come, monsieur. Come.
Come.
The four of you make your way back down the stairs. As you approach the lobby where you had just entered, you see, standing in the middle of the room, a figure. This figure stands quite tall for a woman, a little over 6 feet. She has her back turned to you, and she turns around, her blonde hair swishing away from her face as she reveals that she's wearing a cloak with a brooch attached to the front in the shape of a snowflake, as well as a very modest outfit. A corset, a tunic, and white trousers. You recognize this as the attire of one of the clergy of the Church of Everfrost. From her general demeanor, you can probably hazard a guess that she is one of the priestesses, or as they call them, sisters of the Everfrost. She turns and looks at the four of you. None of you know who she is, except one person. As Harlan looks at her, as she makes eye contact, there is a wordless exchange between the two of them. Just for a moment. And then she smiles, walks over and says, bonsoir. I do not mean to intrude, but I'm with the church, and I was doing my rounds, and I was wondering if an establishment such as this could use healing services for the girls. And she sort of gestures around to the rest of the establishment. Marie is a bit confused. She steps up and says, I wasn't expecting an esteemed member of the church here. No, that's quite all right. My girls are fine here. If you don't mind, if you're not here to do business, then I would request that you leave, madame. The blonde woman sort of bows gently, her blue eyes peering back up at Harlan. Very well. I shall be outside by the corner of the street. If by chance one of your girls needs something. Again, understand that my position as priest gives me the ability to hear. No, I understand, madame, I understand. I would have you leave my establishment if you are not here for business. Thank you. There's a tense moment between the two. Both of them smile, snake-like venomous grins. Until finally, the blonde newcomer bows and backs out, takes one last look at the party, and then opens the door and leaves.
Can Vianne roll to interpret that look?
She absolutely can. That is an insight check, and I'm going to tell you right now, the DC is 25.
Oh, there's a chance, kids. Come on, come on. Oh, it was a dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, Vianne knows that there's something odd about the woman, but she cannot tell what exactly it is or what nature it is. But she has not exactly known members of the clergy of Everfrost to be normal people. They're all quite zealous, so she's not super fazed by the fact that the woman was acting a little odd and socially awkward, but otherwise, nothing else.
When Vianne gets this sinking feeling in her stomach, she attributes it to something else then. Marie, you've already been compromised. Everyone in Vanois knows you are a healer.
Now, calm down, my dear.
No.
It's okay. She's not the first member of the church to come offering healing services. They have a new bevy of sisters and brothers of the frost, or whatever it is they call those fanatics. It's fine. I assume they knew whoever this woman was. It's fine.
There is no such thing as coincidence.
Vianne, please. Come.
Call the Vichys. You need protection.
Vianne, my dear, please.
Poppy, Harlan, we need to get you into a quiet room, okay?
Okay.
Monsieur, you have been around long enough. Would you please kind to calm my friend here? There's nothing wrong. It's just another zealot. No doubt trying to shame my fine establishments that they see as immoral, but nonetheless, I have a great amount of patience for them.
It does seem par for the course for them.
Thank you, monsieur. Now, come, there are more important things we must discuss, yes? Vivi, please.
Of course.
I understand you're paranoid. I do. I really do. But it's fine. Really. I promise. Okay?
Vianne follows.
Now, monsieur, this is where I would normally ask that you leave the girls for a bit of privacy. But I suppose if you must, you may join us. She gestures down towards a back stairs behind a staircase that leads to what you presume to be a basement. That being said, Harlan absolutely recognizes the blonde woman.
Right, womanly stuff, you said?
That's right, monsieur.
Okay, if they do anything that makes you uncomfortable.
Monsieur, please.
Uncle Harlan. And she's gonna pat him on the shoulder. I'll be okay, alright?
I know. I just... Alright. He gives Poppy a little hug, nod to Madame, and lets them go.
As Poppy follows Vianne and Marie towards the stairs, she pauses to look out the window. Although still dark, the storm has cleared, and she's surprised to see that people are already out wandering the murky, puddle-ridden streets. Just as she's about to turn away, a sudden flicker of movement draws her eyes to a dark alleyway. Her heart lurches in her chest. Rage fills it. A pair of jet-black hairkin ears dance in the shadows. But just as soon as she sees them, they're gone again. It seems The dark, dank city of Vanois has begun to play tricks on Poppy's eyes. Poppy, darling, are you coming?
Yeah.
The three ladies make their way down the stairs to the basement, whisking away out of sight, leaving Harlan in the lobby as he hears footsteps behind him of some men who seem a little drunker than they should be, approaching from the street outside. The night is about to start for Le Papillon.
He goes to the bartender and goes, "Do you know where I could get just a little trinket? Something to say that we were here." He's just asking for a place to find a souvenir.
The bartender turns around. A human male, bright green eyes and very, very dark black hair. Quite a strange request, monsieur, but if you must ask, yes, there is a sort of a blacksmith shop just down the road on Rue de Fleur. He specializes in knives and a few trinkets made of silver. You could try there, I suppose, but it's quite late. I don't know if he'd still be out and about, but you could always knock on his door.
Right, okay, thank you. I'll give that a shot.
Would you like a drink for the road, monsieur?
Oh, no, I'm all right. I've heard you have to keep your wits about you in this town.
Yes, you do indeed. Harlan steps out. He turns to his left, and he can see the blonde woman staring right back at him, her eyes piercing. She whips around and walks behind the corner.
Harlan lets out a little breath, nods to himself a little bit, and goes to follow her.
As he follows her and turns the same corner that she disappeared around, her hair and her cloak whip around another corner. Harlan continues down the winding alleyways filled with grime, broken bottles of glass, and booze everywhere. He turns the next corner to find a pair of faintly glowing blue eyes in a dead-end alleyway. The woman standing before him with her arms crossed. She gestures with her right hand silently for him to come forward.
He raises his eyebrows a little bit, approaches.
As he approaches within 5 feet of her, she waves her hand, silencio, and she casts silence at the entrance of the alleyway.
You know, it doesn't matter if they can't hear us if they see you. A priest?
The woman smiles as she opens her arms and embraces Harlan. She drops her accent. You have no idea how awful it is being one of these people. They're insufferable. I hate it, Lagarde. I hate it so much.
You must have had other choices.
No, I really didn't. Do you have any idea how corrupt the priests are here? Do you have any idea? It's awful. They're embezzling out in the open. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, Vanois, it's special.
Oh, I hate it here so much.
Oh, come on. It's not all bad.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you stay stationed here for years. I don't know how you did it. I'm going to off myself. I'm going to do it. So, I know it's a little early for our 5-yearly drink, but it's good to see you again.
Always good to see you. Couldn't have picked a place where we could sit, could you?
No, because we have to talk about this now. Did you talk to Pasteur?
Yes, I did.
And she told you about the new Lunel case?
You didn't have anything to do with that case either, did you?
No, of course not. I was down here. But we all heard about it.
Yeah.
And then we all didn't hear about it. I have no idea what happened to that girl. Do you?
No.
Okay, I mean, listen, the orders were find the girl and bring her to Port de Glace. So, how are we doing this?
I told Pasteur. I guess they haven't distributed it yet, but I don't even know if she's still alive.
Give me a deception check. She's one of you. This DC is also 25.
It's a 19.
She squints her eyes at you. What are you hiding?
What am I hiding? I'm hiding so many things. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Excuse you. Are you really hiding things? From me, LaRousse, of all people?
You know there are always things that we're not gonna talk about. That's understood.
Does it have to do with those girls?
No, it doesn't.
The ones you were with?
No.
Give me another deception check.
24.
She takes one step closer to you. Who are they? Lagarde, I've never seen you with them.
You know, Andy takes her hand. You know, the part of my life I never talk about.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That girl, she's one of the family? Which one, the older one or the younger one?
You know, I never actually told you about that, but I guess I should not be shocked that you know.
Lagarde, you're scaring me.
She got into some trouble. I'm taking care of it.
She steps closer again. What kind of trouble? Look at me. What kind of trouble? You see beneath her disguise that look that you have seen over the years of genuine concern for you.
It's the kind of trouble that I don't want you to know about, because I don't want you having to protect me.
Me? Protect you? Really? Really? You, of all people? Really? I have personally watched you kill 3 Maudit at the same time. I know you don't need me to protect you. But Lagarde, you're scaring me. Look at me. Whatever it is, you know I'd help. You know I would.
I do.
I can help, Lagarde.
No.
Matt, I want you to give me a persuasion check.
It's an 18.
She squeezes your hand tighter, and her eyes grow wide. Oh. Oh, God. It's her, isn't it? Oh. Oh, Lagarde. Oh, no. Oh, okay. That's fine. This is fine. Okay. Baptiste and Ducasse are heading north. It's fine.
Why couldn't you just be a little more gullible, right? A little more foolable?
Me? Me, of all people. Really? Lagarde, just stop. Lagarde, let's just think. Okay, let's just think. Okay. The rest of the page are heading north to Fort Aubrac. That's where we got word that she was heading. Okay? Okay. Why don't we just get you out? We can send the girl to Savona. We can send the girl to Seguero. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We can get the girl out. And then maybe we'll just never find her, and maybe the queen will just forget. Maybe? Look, God, I don't know what to do. I have some connections with the Castano family. I can get you a ship.
I don't want you involved. Our foreheads are against each other at this point, as we're talking in flow tones.
It doesn't matter. You are up against the entirety of the queendom. Do you understand what this means? It's that or you die. It's that or you both die. Lagarde, let me make this clear. I don't want you to die.
Yeah. I don't want me to die either. And I don't want you to die. Okay?
Too late, Lagarde. I already know. Listen, it's fine. I won't say a word. I can get you a ship, and you can get the girl out of here. And then you and I, we can secure the southern passage.
I need you to not know. I need you to be able to deny this.
I refuse. We're in this together. We've always been in this together. Ever since we started this, you know, I have shared so much of my life with you. You know this. You know this, Lagarde. I am with you. And I trust that you know what you're doing. And I trust that what you're doing is right. I trust you. And I will help whether you want it or not. I will help you.
Alice.
Stop it. Stop! If you refuse, if you're going to be a stubborn ass about this, I will do it myself. I will call Pastor, and I will tell her that I have spotted her going to the west, and that I am pursuing her, and I will do this, and they will not know a single thing. They will be none the wiser. Do this for you.
Oh, God.
I have preparations to make. Excuse me.
I squeeze her into embrace for a moment.
She embraces you back.
I don't know what to do.
Me neither. But if you need to get that girl away from the queen, then I will divert our page. I will divert the frost guard. I will divert the ice golems if she sends them after you. Just leave me to it and do whatever it is that you need to do and get that girl out of here.
No, I can't. I can't leave you without...
I'll be fine.
No.
I'll be fine. I'll manage, okay?
Wait. He tries to grab after her. No. If you tell them anything, it was from me, all right?
Now, when's the last time that you convinced me to do anything I didn't want? And she slips away and drops the silence spell behind her and disappears behind the corner.
Damn it.
We turn back to Poppy, Vianne, and Madame Marie as they make their way down the stairs, and the opulent nature of the lobby abruptly becomes this mess of stained wood with random burn marks along the walls and the floor. You make your way down to the basement, and you can see a workshop of some sort. There are tables and bookshelves around filled with books of varying colors and sizes. You see mechanical creations and objects everywhere you look, just thrown and strewn about in crates everywhere. And they range from very basic things like a shoehorn or, let's say, a kettle to some odd objects and what look to be limbs that you absolutely cannot tell what their purpose could possibly be. And as you make your way down, you see a woman with dark hair turn around in a start. I'm sorry. I didn't know we were expecting any guests. Marie, who are these people, Marie? Marie saunters up to her, grabs her face gently, and plants a passionate kiss on her as she grabs her hand and turns to Vienna Poppy and says, "Yes, I would like to introduce my partner, Josephine. Josephine, say hi." Hello there. And she sort of like retreats within herself. Madame Marie looks at Vienna and says, "I know, I was going to tell you. You seemed in such a rush. I didn't know. The timing wasn't great."
A couple of days, my dear. You... Well, welcome to the family, Josephine. Vianne will kiss her on each cheek. You would not believe the tale that we had to lose coming down here just to meet you. Men. Of course, Poppy, men are afraid of women when women are doing women things. But what they don't know is that they have absolutely every right to be afraid. This is one of the finest magicians in Vanois.
Oh. Nice to meet you, Poppy. She's gonna give the world's worst curtsy you've ever seen. And she's not wearing a dress, so it's very awkward for all parties involved.
Josephine brushes off her very oily hands on her like work skirt, grabs it and does the worst curtsy, even worse than yours. And it's just incredibly awkward. Marie speaks up. Vivi, I'm sorry. When we met, it was just, she grabs her tighter. It was love at first sight, and she needed a place to stay. Her workshop was being taken by the landlord, and I said, well, I'm not using the basement, so why not?
And you fell in love immediately. I've seen this before. No offense, Josephine.
Josephine takes so much offense, but she doesn't say anything. She just like blushes, just absolutely beet red, and looks down at the floor. Vivi, no.
Darling, you're cuter. You'll stick around a lot longer, I'm sure.
She slaps you on the arm. How dare you? Do not scare her away. This is true love.
True love.
Yes.
It's about time. Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
Josephine, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I can see that you share my dear Marie's predilection for magic.
Well, not quite. I don't have innate talent, actually. I went to the academy for learned magic, actually.
Even better. Then you are much harder working than she is.
At this, she smiles just a little bit, but she tries to hide it. Marie looks at the two of you and says, dang, both of you.
Please, we don't have a lot of time before the uncle demands to know what the women folk are doing.
Yes. Josephine, Vianne has the most scandalous news. Vianne, why don't you care to tell her?
I'd rather let Poppy speak for herself.
Poppy's head just kind of whips towards Vianne, and there is a distinct emotion of betrayal in her eyes as she takes a step back and both of her hands move in front of her chest. You told them.
You are safe here, Poppy.
What? This whole time, I mean, the goal has been to get out and interact with as little people as possible.
The goal is to keep you safe. We can't do it alone. We cannot do it alone. These women will die for you. Just as much as I would.
I didn't ask anyone to die for me. In fact, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
I'm sorry, I'm very confused. At this moment,
No.
Poppy feels it in her toes first.
Oh.
Then she feels it in her fingertips. As it creeps up her leg and up her arms, it feels like her blood is on fire. And as the pain racks her body, she drops to her knees, and every woman in this room all rush to her side. She starts to convulse and bleed from her ears, her nose, her mouth, as the bones in her face crack and her fingernails come off and dissolve onto the floor, her ears sliding off her head as she screams in pain. And as from atop her head, hair rabbit ears slowly emerges, bloody and raw. Poppy blacks out. It seems like she's floating, just floating in water, as her eyes open and she finds herself once more in a beautiful hallway. Paintings and furniture like she's never seen before. Majestic and ancient. What should have been well taken care of, filled with cobwebs and dust. And in the center, she sees a little white cat roaming the halls as she steps forward. Poppy, what do you do?
There's a moment where she's just on this floor in a fetal position, breathing heavy, still overcome from her physical form's brutal transformation, and slowly she begins to look around. She looks at the cat, her eyes wide. She just reaches out a hand.
Carmen, I want you to give me an animal handling check.
That is a 23.
Carmen, would you care to describe how Poppy, practiced as she is, calls over a cat?
Oh, it's a time-old tale. A little pss, 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 pss. With her hand out. Her breath is still catching in her throat, by the way. I mean, she is worn out. It's the most guttural pss, pss, pss you've ever heard in your life. And somehow, it works.
The cat pads its way over to you in a little bit of a hustle. It sort of has a little pop in its step as it looks like a creature that hasn't really seen a whole lot of attention. And the moment it reaches you, it sniffs your hand and then immediately presses its cheekbones against your hand, rubbing itself furiously against your hand and then proceeding to coil itself around your legs, purring very, very loudly. In this moment, you hear a voice ring out from the end of the hallway. Bijou! Bijou, where are you? Bijou dear! From behind the corner of the hallway, the stranger, the familiar figure that you had seen in one of your dreams, a maudit lion, more lion than man, emerges at the end of the hallway, and he stops, and his jaw drops, and he makes his way over slowly to you.
Poppy scoops up the cat in her arm and kind of holds it back from him, almost in a protective manner. What is this place?
All right, now I know I'm certainly not going mad because you are holding my cat and she cannot possibly be floating in midair. Hello? Pleasure?
No, I think we've lost the ability to exchange formalities. My apologies. What is going on?
I would be happy to answer your questions, but first, you're making me a little nervous. Would you please drop my cat?
Respectfully, he's the only thing keeping me grounded right now.
Okay, that's fine. You can hold him. That's fine.
Oh yeah, I'm going to. Yeah.
All right. His name is Bijou, in case you're curious. You're not curious. Okay. My name is Ardent. What is your name?
Poppy.
Poppy. Yes, pleasure to meet you. Forgive me, I've never heard that name before, and your manner of speaking is unfamiliar to me. Where are you from?
Ardeno? Where are we right now?
Forgive me, mademoiselle, I don't know an Ardeno. Is that in Alizé?
As long as I've been alive, yeah.
Oh, forgive me, I cannot say I'm acquainted with it, and I'm familiar with much of my territory.
Your castle, your territory. Who are you?
Mademoiselle, you are in Artois. Poppy's vision starts to blur and black out from the edges.
Oh, no, wait.
She drops the cat as she feels woozy and she stumbles on her feet. The last thing that she can see is this lion, Maudit, rushing towards her with his hands extended. No! Don't go, please! As she blacks out once more. And when she wakes up, she opens her eyes to the worried faces of Vianne, Josephine, and Madame Marie, who are fanning her face.
Just 1,000-yard stare as her eyes seem to unfocus.
Poppy. Good. You're okay. You're okay?
Where are we? Where are we right now?
We're in Venois, in the basement of Le Papillon. It's only been a few moments. You're okay.
Poppy is going to immediately check her clothes for any remnants of cat hair.
She finds nothing but her own fur and blood.
To Vianne, it looks like she is once again hysterically coming to terms with her new form. Pawing all over herself, checking her clothing.
For pity's sake, Marie. We have to do something for her. She's in pain.
Yes. Let Josephine take a look at you. I am going to get you, fresh towels, warm, damp towels, and, water. You stay right here. Josephine will take care of you. She is a wonderful, wonderful physica. Yes, I will be right back. And she whisks her way back up the stairs, as Josephine sort of takes Poppy's hand and says, please, lay her down on the table. I'll clear my things. As she clears the table and says, please lie down. I should very much like to inspect you. Make sure you're not hurt.
All right. She kind of, on shaky legs, stands up, now sort of familiar with the strength that is coiled in these new muscles making up her body. And the distance to get to the table that she has pointed out is shockingly dwarfed by what it would have been had Poppy been in her normal form.
We shift away and follow Madame Marie up the stairs. She runs into Harlan. Harlan, you can see that she is panicked. She's a little sweaty. It's very uncharacteristic of what you've seen of her so far. Monsieur, you've returned.
What's wrong?
Perhaps you should go downstairs.
What's wrong? Is she all right?
She's fine. She's fine. Josephine's looking after her, and she's a wonderful physica.
Let me see her right now.
Yes, please. Down the stairs. I am going to fetch fresh towels to clean off the blood, and some water for her. She's fine.
And he just takes off down the stairs.
As he makes his way down the stairs, he sees Poppy laying on the table with her cloak off, and he can see Josephine just sort of very tentatively unblousing to check her body.
Oh my God.
Harlan, it happened again.
You all right? Are you all right? Are you okay?
Poppy just looks there, but not there. She turns to you with the slowest movement of her head, and her eyes are just so distant. Like she's looking at you, but not looking at you.
Give me a perception check.
It's a 13.
You do notice she's panicked, and she's clearly very discombobulated, but you cannot tell if it's anything past just shifting back into this form.
All right, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna be fine. It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. And she's very determinedly not looking at the pile of her own flesh in the corner.
Josephine inspects every limb, taking care to make sure that there's no open wounds or anything. Everyone actually notices that pile of flesh in the corner starting to disintegrate, turn into this fine ashen dust, almost like the remnants of paper when you burn it in a bonfire, just sort of carrying away with the wind. Except there's no wind down here. It just sort of dissipates upwards and into the air into nothingness, just like the first time that it happened.
Harlan checks that in. Little tight-lipped nod.
Vienne is also seeing that, and she is studying. Her mind is moving. Human flesh has never been seen to do that before.
And Josephine notices this too. It takes everything in her to not work with her mouth agape, but eventually she sort of takes a step back from the table, and she very awkwardly places a hand on Poppy's shoulder and says, Mademoiselle, you are perfectly healthy. In fact, you are possibly the strongest, most athletic hairkin I've ever seen in my life.
Have you met many hairkin?
Yes, many of our girls and a few boys are hairkin, and we are frequented by both humans and beastkin. Though the beastkin tend to seek the company of grisettes at other bordellos, they cannot afford our lorettes. They are aspiring courtesans, after all. But that doesn't stop the occasional drunkard from trying. In fact, just the other day, I had to treat this absolutely unpalatable hairkin man who drank himself asleep at the bar upstairs. That's beyond the point. I am quite familiar with hairkin biology, but your body is unlike any I've ever seen. Madame, your muscles are so dense. I don't understand.
Well, you have to get in line for answers.
Marie comes back down the stairs, just an armful of fresh towels, as well as sort of like a pitcher of water. She rushes over to the table. I'm so sorry. Here, there's just so many customers tonight. I'm sorry. Here, there's some water for you, my dear. And she hands you the pitcher. Please, let me help you sit up here. And Vivi, would you care to help her dry off? There's a lot of blood here.
Harlan is immediately helping. Also, he takes a glance at Josephine, nods, says, Josephine, sorry, the coincidence of you being here is the least weird thing that's happening tonight.
Monsieur Harlan, it's a pleasure to... Are you involved with... You know, you're correct. This is the least weird thing that's happened tonight.
You bet. We will get back to that when we have time. All right.
Yes, indeed. I'm sorry, but are you... How did this happen?
You know, of all the people I know, I think you'd be the person most likely to know.
The five of you begin a lengthy dialogue about the events that have happened since the beginning of your journey. You can see Josephine just rifling through her books, just pulling them all out, dropping them on the floor, just throwing them everywhere, frantically looking for anything that might be of relevance to anything you're saying. You finish your story, and she says, "Aha, I found it, yes." And she picks up a book, and she lays it down, and she rifles through it. And eventually she says, I don't understand. It's not exactly correct. And she turns and looks at the three of you as she pushes the book towards you. This is a compilation of fairy tales that have been collected for the past 200 years. You may want to read this one. And she pushes the book towards the three of you.
Vian beats him to it.
Vian reads what's on the page, and it's a very short fairy tale about the origins of Kaiwar, the god that the Hairkin have traditionally worshipped. And it reads that a chosen Hairkin will lead her people south to an ancient forest where she will find the secrets of life itself. Once there, would return to a human form and defeat the curse of Sangi.
Josephine, burn this book.
What?
Marie, if you break up with her, I will have to kill her. You understand?
Excuse moi? Vivi, Primal.
This knowledge does not leave this room.
All right. Calm down.
Please.
It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale.
Matt, I want you to give me a history check.
That is a 15 history check.
You have heard this fairy tale before. You know that it's sort of a myth, like a legend told between the Hairkin people, and it really started appearing once they started being enslaved by the Luminarans and then sold to both Luminaran lands as well as Grendelian lands. This is sort of a folktale that they sort of draw themselves to as a sign of hope for their people while under enslavement. It has mutated a lot over the years, and what you're hearing from this book is definitely not the first version you've heard, but it's definitely not something that's like completely outlandish. Probably some modicum of truth behind whether or not this has been told throughout the generations.
It's not that uncommon. I'm sure other people know about it too. It's not some crazy ancient...
It's not that uncommon.
It's not some
Vian gestures at Poppy.
This story, I'm saying, is not that uncommon. It's not some hidden secret story. Other people have heard of it. No need to murder anybody for having access to a fairy tale. All right?
Is it true?
It's a fairy tale.
Poppy, does it feel true?
I don't know the answer to that.
Madame, if I may, I would very much like to keep my head, but I should also point out that there are many contradictions with these stories of Kaiwa. Some say that she herself is a maudit, more beast than man, and others say that she is herself a Hairkin. I'm sorry, but this is the only instance I can find of any story of anyone afflicted by the curse of Sangi and returning to human form.
And do all of those stories end with this Hairkin erasing Sangi?
I don't know, madame. I'm sorry, but they're just stories.
No. That is not how it's supposed to go. This is not supposed to happen.
And what is it that you think is supposed to happen?
Freedom. Not erasure.
Alright. My niece is not your Messiah, right? You're right, she needs to get to somewhere safe. And that's what we're gonna do, right?
Puppy doesn't belong to you, Harlan. She doesn't belong to me. Poppy, your destiny is your own, all right? Would you like to seize it?
I don't know, Van. What is my destiny? Because it seems everyone wants to tell me what it is.
Your destiny is at the end of a sword unless we get out of this town.
And there we can agree.
If I may, there are several ships that come through, and some of the Savonan families are very keen to turn a blind eye with enough gold.
Which ones?
Marie steps up, grabs Vienna and says, Vivi, you're scaring me. Please, right now, I think what's best is for the three of you turn in for the night. It's quite late, and we can talk about this in the morning. You're all tired. I can see it in your eyes. If it makes you feel any better, I'll bring some rolls down here, and you can sleep down here so that you don't have to go back up into Le Papillon. How does that sound?
I'm not leaving Poppy's side.
The boat you were talking about? Let's get that started, huh?
Yes, monsieur.
Like right now, let's get that going.
Where to?
South.
There are no ships going south past here, my dear. You know that. North, east, south so far as to sail around into Luminara or Asaguero.
Yeah. There'll be enough gold to make them go where we ask them to. Without asking any questions.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
There was a ship in the Royal Bay about 30 years ago. They don't all avoid south.
Vivi, please. Do you really want to go there?
I love you, Marie. This matters more.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Stay here. Josephine will take care of you. And she squeezes Vianne's hands, gazing at her in the eyes. And she lets go and makes her way up the stairs.
What are you talking about? Vianne. Ship's gone south.
It depends which Savonan familia you ask. But some of them do go south. It's the only place that the Queen's Reach cannot touch us. Her ice melts the closer you get to Artois.
The second Artois is mentioned, Poppy's head whips over to Vienne, and she's staring at her.
What's the matter, Poppy?
Artois. What do you know about Artois?
It's the old capital of Alizé. That's where the Howling Night started.
Poppy searches in her head for those old history lessons her father taught her. And she does remember the Howling Night, the name for a single night hundreds of years ago, when the fallen kingdom of Alizé was afflicted by the Sangui curse. The curse supposedly turned all the citizens of the capital of Artois into beast monsters called the Maudits. It is commonly understood that the emergence of the beastkin people several decades later was due to the interbreeding between humans and the Maudits. This troublesome lineage is a large reason why the humans of Grendel are quite accepting of enslaving beastkin.
No, I know all that. What of it now? Where's Artois at now? Who lives there?
Are you ready to be a beastkin, Poppy? Not just an appearance, but to know something only beastkin know.
If that is the answer you need, in order to answer my question, Vian, then I don't know yet.
Artois never escaped the worst of the curse. After the Sun King died, no one returned. And no one can return now. I grew up near there. I saw adventurers, plunderers, charlatans, and fools try to make their way into the old capital for whatever remained of its glory. And do you know what happened to them? Stone. Miles and miles of statues. All of people, all with their hands outstretched. No one returns.
The Sun King. Do you know his name?
I was a bit of a student of history once. Leon VI was once known as Ardon.
Poppy just goes still.
What is it, Poppy?
Josephine, can you leave the room, please?
Yes, of course.
I won't actually hurt you, dear. You're lovely. But we do need privacy for this.
Yes, of course. Thank you, madame. If you need anything, I'll be, at the bar? Okay,
I can call for you if we need you.
Yes, madame.
Go.
She does the very, very awful bow, curtsy, and then she makes her way up the stairs and closes the door behind her.
Okay.
Poppy stands up from the table and just begins pacing back and forth. She makes one turn, a second, and then she finally turns to address both of you. How is it that a little girl from Ardenau, who's learned very little about the Howling Knights, knows absolutely nothing about Artois, couldn't even conjure up an image of the city if you asked her to in her mind, has had 2 dreams in which she has come face to face with King Ardon?
Harlan reacts to the fact that Poppy is bringing this up in front of Vian for a second, then drops it because there's just too much else going on. Oh, all right. 2 dreams of seeing what now?
Well, from what I just learned, the King of Artois, the Sun King, as you so aptly named him.
You've seen him?
Oh, I held his cat. So either I'm making up history, or I've actually gone mad.
No, Poppy, you are perfect. You are perfect. This is amazing. We should leave.
I think we should go to Savona. I think we should just get as far away as we can. And then from there, we can get another boat. They'll take us wherever.
Savona? Well, you're a fool.
As Harlan and Poppy look at Vian, a voice rings out in her head. Shh, little kit. Let him believe whatever he wants to believe. All will be fine.
At her sudden pause, Harlan looks at Vian, cocking his head ever so slightly, trying to gauge if there's any meaning behind it.
Harlan notices a pause in Vian's sort of thinking process, but he interprets that as more of she's trying to come up with what to say.
I can help you in Savona. Then. I speak the language.
Well, that's excellent.
Wow. What is happening to me?
I don't know. But we're going to keep you safe. Give you every chance to live whatever life you want to live. That's what I want to do.
All right.
Poppy, you are safe here for the night.
I think we take up your friend Marie on her offer and we stay down here.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, this is your first trip to a big city. I was hoping to, when the time came, to bring you to someplace nice and show you a good time. Well, I've heard there's lovely places in Sedona.
You've never been. Get some rest tonight, Poppy. We have a long day ahead tomorrow.
Yeah. As the group settles down and there are no longer watchful eyes tracking her closely, Poppy takes a deep breath, slams her eyes shut, and attempts to return back to that place of dreams. The one with an old abandoned palace and a long-forgotten king, who she now knows as Ardon.
Carmen, I want you to roll me a flat D20. Your DC for this is 18.
Ooh. That's a 7.
As she drifts off, you can hear the sound of crashing waves as she feels water between her toes and up to her ankles and then her knees. And when she opens her eyes, she is met with the twilight of an endless horizon of water. The sky's tinted bluish green, and there is silence around her.
Poppy is going to just kind of sit down in the water. What does this mean?
You hear something in the distance. It's faint at first, and you can't quite make out what it is until it gets closer. Flapping, like those of wings. You can't tell where it's coming from. It seems to be coming from everywhere. You open your eyes, turn around to look, and you see a massive falcon swooping down towards you. Its talons are exposed and aiming right at you. Before you can get up and move, it gets closer and closer and closer until, from the corner of your vision, you see a massive fox emerge and jump onto the falcon. Its massive jaws biting down onto a wing of the falcon as it takes it down and begins to tear it to shreds. When all is done, feathers float towards your feet as blood seeps through the water and onto your clothes. And the fox turns its head to you and pads its way slowly towards you, its paws floating just above the water. It sits on its haunches and stares at you, its tail waving behind it until it holds still. And from behind the tail, more tails split and fan around it. 9 in total. As it looks at you, and in your mind you hear, "Go south." And you wake. Everyone else is asleep. It's dark in here. There's a few candles that Josephine has lit for the three of you to sleep on these makeshift bedrolls.
Poppy does not sleep the rest of the night and spends it awake.
As she stays awake, she hears, out of the tiny little basement window, a bit of scuffling. And then suddenly she hears what seems to be the drunken voice of a man. But this voice sounds so familiar to Poppy. Like something that she has heard in her worst nightmares.
She's going to take off towards that voice.
As she reaches the little window, she notices that It can be opened, and it is large enough for her to squeeze through.
She goes through the window.
Carmen, I want you to give me a stealth check with advantage. You will be checking against Harlan and Vianne's passive perception at disadvantage.
The first one is an 11, and then a 19 to make it a 27.
Whoa. Well, I guess I don't hear you.
With that roll, you stealthily make your way past your comrades. Poppy, as you reach the streets above, you can see that it is very, very, very early morning hours. The light has not even remotely begun to rise, but you can see it kind of just beyond the distance, the sky turning just a little orange. And as you get up onto the streets, filled with all manner of disgusting liquids and smells, you look around and you see at the end of an empty street, a man, drunk, slurring his words and swaying with a bottle in his hand. And he turns around and you see he is a harekin with black ears. Poppy, this is the man whose face you will never forget. This is the harekin that killed your mother.
A cold sweat breaks out over her skin as she looks into the face, the sole holder of all her regrets. And as that feeling comes to the surface, there's rage and there's blame, and for a childish, petty moment, she pinpoints this man as the start of everything that went wrong in her life. And she takes off towards him.
The man is completely drunk, and he does not even bother to look at the sound of rapid, powerful footsteps that are bounding towards him. What does Poppy do?
Tackles him immediately, and both hands wrap around his neck the second they are on the ground.
As you land on the ground and close your powerful hands around his neck, your new claws digging into his skin, he drops the bottle. It shatters on the cobblestone. He looks up at you with eyes full of surprise. You can see underneath your hands around his neck is a silver chain with a blue lapis lazuli stone set in silver, hidden underneath his clothes. But now that you're on the ground, exposed, and he looks up with his eyes towards you, and he tries to fight back, but you are too strong.
As he's struggling, she is just keeping her hands firm around his neck. She's shaking and she's crying and she's staring at him. Look at me. You did this to me. You, look at me. And she's just shaking his neck against the ground.
The man looks up at you, eyes beginning to be bloodshot as the blood vessels burst in his eyes, as he claws futilely against your hands, as tears start streaming down his face. In this moment, Poppy can see all of this man's regrets and all of the lies that he's been told, as he claws for his life, now sorry not for what he did, but sorry about how he got there.
You do not get to look at me like that. How dare you? How dare you wear her necklace? And she is going to sink her claws into his throat and tear at the skin, just like she watched her mother's head tear open.
She doesn't know the strength in her new claws, and she rips his throat apart, blood gushing and filling the disgusting gutters of Vanois as he gurgles his last cries. And after a minute, he stops breathing, and his eyes lose focus, and his hands fall limply onto the ground.
There's so much anger. So much that even after the light leaves his eyes, she's still gripping at the torn up throat. She's still staring into the blank eyes. And then it fades, washing, ebbing, just the same as the sea she was sitting in no more than 10, 15 minutes ago. And she grasps the chain around his neck as horror floods into her.
The necklace is covered in his blood, but Poppy unclasps it and holds it aloft. And as she holds up the necklace into the early morning light, she hears once more the sound of crashing waves. And that is where we end our session.
Oh. Whew.
Man. All right.
Just man.
Hi, my beautiful cast. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was,
Cool.
that was a lot. Yeah?
Wow.
Okay. Carmen, how you feeling?
I'm shaking. I'm actually shaking from that. That was good. Regrets a little. I have a little regrets. But you know what? The spirit of Poppy came out. Honestly, I don't think anyone could have forced me to do anything different there. I was completely possessed by that character. At that moment, I was no longer Carmen.
We saw. Was there any world in which she would have shown mercy?
Yeah, I think there was. And I think that is where my regret is stemming from. I think had she let him speak, there could have been a moment. But the silence was almost worse than any plea. Yeah.
Is there any world where she would have gone to anyone else?
No. I think she was already really frazzled from the dream in the Wondrous Sea. And then to hear that voice when she's already on edge, already feeling so useless with everything that's going on. I think it was her one moment of autonomy where she was like, I don't have any bodyguards. I have no uncle. I have no protective woman who wants to make me God.
Yeah, I really did. If you liked the sneak peek, you can find the rest of this post-session chat and much more on our Patreon. Also, if you'd like to interact with myself or our fabulous cast, or just chat with fellow fans, please join our Discord. Links to both are included in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.